What's up, guys? Welcome to Real Beats. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to use the grid and how to use it with different instruments and drums. If you guys haven't subbed already or turned post notes on, make sure you do so because it does help the channel out a lot. Just hop right into it. So basically what I'm going to do is just go through every single sound, all right, and just try to explain and show you some ways that you can use different grids. And if I go in here and I'll show you what I mean. So you have all these grids down here. So I'm going to show you which instruments, which grid suits best for each instrument and drum, and we're just gonna go through it. Now this doesn't mean this is the end all be all, it's the only way to do it. It's just a starting point for people that are stuck and they're not really sure like what grid to use, all right, and when to use it. All right, so that's what we're gonna do, and first thing we're gonna start with is the melody. All right, so let's go ahead and make our melody. First thing we'll need though is a scale, so let's just use we can use a harmonic minor. Actually, we can just use the default, and I'll just name it, wait, what is this in? Sure. All right, so I'll just show you my sounds I'm using. This is just a bell, custom bell, and then I have a guitar. This is the plugin, and we're gonna be using a completely different grid for the guitar. So let's go ahead and get started with our basic one. So here, the first grid that I start with my melodies is just step, and that's like the all-around grid. It's like you can see it's in the middle, but the reason for that is because you can kind of get your basic ideas across. Now if I'm doing chords or something, you could do like 1/2 a beat just so it's easier to place, but usually one step is like the best one. All right, and I think it's set default to that, and that way you can get flams off, right? You can get all your ideas down. You can even do stuff like this with this grid. So I'm gonna make some chords real quick, and I'm just go ahead and get that out the way. All right, so those are going to be our chords, and now we can go ahead and move on to our guitar. Okay, so now we're going to be using the guitar, and we're going to use a slightly different grid on this one. Let's go in here, and we use a step. All right, and for the last one, if you want to go smaller and go 1/2 step and get those like quick flams in, or just if you want anything, be creative with that. If you want to be creative with that, go ahead. You can use whatever you want to use, but this is just, again, a guide. All right, so for the guitar, we're going to use a 1/3 beat. Okay, and just like the last one, you can use 1/6 beat as well if you want like quicker flams or whatever, but we're going to use 1/3 beat. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this over and just make a melody with it. You can just kind of watch me do that, and so you can know how to like use it, and I'll just explain things as I go. All right, so I'm just gonna Control A and then Control Q to make everything on the grid. Okay, and we can make this slightly larger, and let's just modify it. So All right, so again, we're just going completely on the grid. We're not doing anything crazy. All right, we're not offsetting anything. It's all on the grid on the 1/3. All right, and it'll pretty much come out sound like this as long as you kind of follow what I'm doing and just get creative with it as well. So let's go ahead and go to the next part. All right, so let's listen to the whole thing. Try to get everything in one frame. All right, so here we go. All right, so that's the guitar. So now let's move on to the bass. All right, so let's do the 808 or bass. So let's go in here. And again, you could use any one of these, all right? Any one of these grids, all right? But for the 808, I would suggest using 1/2 a beat. All right, now this will give you all the bounce you need. It's pretty much the perfect grid for 808s, all right? And then, so I will stick to 1/2 a beat or 1/4 a beat if you just want to do like slides and stuff. Okay, so 1/2 a beat. And this is really easy. So we could just go ahead and let's shrink it down like that. If you just follow this pattern, then literally just do something like this. And maybe some of it. Pull the velocity up, and here we go. All right, pretty simple. So that is it for the 808. So let's move on to the kick. All right, so now we are on to the kick. So let's go ahead and go on the piano roll. So the kick is really similar to the 808, except you would probably put a lot more notes down. So 1/2 a beat is perfect for the kick, especially if you're just beginning, because you can't really mess up. So I'm gonna just place the basic ones here, so we can pretty much just copy the 808 pattern like this, and then let's just play it first. All right, you could play stuff like right here off the grid, play it from here. Okay, and then the other one for the kick would be 1/4 a beat, and this way you can get like these quick ones, right? And then you can get some really quick kicks. Right here, you know, I wouldn't. This isn't really my style, but just showing you. Okay, so let's just simplify this back. Okay, so that is the kick. So let's move on to the claps and perks. Okay, so now we're gonna do our claps and perks or sound effects and stuff. So there's gonna be like the basic ones. So like I have a perk instead of a clap, but it's the same placement. So let's go in here. So the grid that I will use for these are beats. Okay, so just pure beat right here. And it's just easier to place them. So I'm gonna just go ahead and place right? And the clap is the easiest thing to place because it's the same spot every time. Now the other grid would be 1/2 a beat. All right, now this is perfect for bounce because you can place it in between, right? Right, can't really mess that up. It's just preference. All right, and this goes for your basic perks, sound effects, open hats, and stuff like that. Okay, this works for all of those. And again, you can put it on any grid that you want to. All right, so let's go back to the beat grid, and I'm gonna just place them here. Okay, so we can just place them on completely on that grid. All right, which would be the start of each new series of colors, right? So this one will be on the grid, this one will be on the grid, and so on. Okay, as simple as that. And let's move on to the more advanced stuff, the hi-hats and the snare. All right, so now we're gonna start on our hi-hats. So let's go ahead and go on the piano roll. Now this one will be a little bit more complicated because we're gonna combine grids and use different grids in one. But for the first one, the basic rhythm that we wanna put down, let's do 1/4 beat. And that's like a really good one to start with because you can really get in there and fine tune, and you can just keep it very simple. So I'm gonna go ahead and place a basic like pattern down. Okay, so now the next grid we're gonna use, go up here and we can do 1/4 step. Okay, and then of course you can use the tool and go to quick chop or chop to manually do it, and you can just make these bigger and then, you know, chop it. But I think it's important to know how to do it manually as well, so you can really fine tune if you want to like do some crazy hi-hats, right? So actually let's zoom in here and we can just do some quick little hi-hat. We can even spread it out. Now with my chops, I like to put them down a little lower with the velocity, just so it's, I don't know, it just meshes well together when you do that. And then we can even go down here and just put like a quick one, a little bit larger so we can grab it. And we can just place these in any spot. Maybe one at the end. We can put something there. All right, so now let's move on to the next grid, and that would be our 1/3 step. All right, so now we can really just place it in one spot. And I usually place these like around here right before the clap hits, so you can just throw that in. All right, turn it down, maybe even pull the velocity, make the velocity go something like this, right? I think that's still a little too much. Very subtle. All right, so that's one way you can use that one. So now the next grid we're gonna use is a more common one, especially in trap, is a 1/3 beat. Now you can use 1/3 beat or 1/6 beat if you just want some quicker ones. Right, if you want that kind of hi-hat roll. All right, but let's just use the 1/3. And usually you just follow the grid on this one. And then if I use this one, I usually mess with the velocity as well. So let me pull that up. You can just kind of mess with it, see what you like. Okay, so that is the hi-hats, and now we're gonna move on to the snare. All right, so with the snare, there's really like 4 main ones or 3 main grids that you can use. So 1/4 beat is like the one that you like can go in and edit with, but the 1/2 beat is like for placement. Okay, and this is the one I use for basically like if I just do quick chops. So if I just want to place this here and we could do a quick chop here, something like that. That's what I would do, right? If we're being realistic. But the other ones, and we can just go ahead and place, well, actually we can just show you what the different grids do. So 1/4 beat, and this could be a quick one before like the clap drop. Okay, and then we got 1/6 beat. Okay, and then I usually just do a few. You can see how it gives you a slightly different sound. And then we do 1/3. And those are like the main ones with the snare. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I might even go smaller on this one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go even smaller. Let's go 1/3 step. Okay. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just preference. But the ones I showed you are like the main ones that people use. Okay. And you can also use any of these up here, all right? If you need a smaller chop. I'm doing it manually. You wouldn't need to actually come up here and mess with these. You can just change it. So let me show you. So if you highlight this, and then you can, if you look, it'll tell you right here the shortcut for it. But you go to chop, and you can literally just chop it however you like. Okay. Just continue this. Just take these 3. Put them right there. All right, so that's going to be it for the snare. So now let's just play the whole beat together. Here you go. All right, and that's how you utilize all the grids. Again, you can go, you know, don't just let this box you in. Think outside the box. You can use other grids. You can maybe use the 1/3 grids for a kick or 808 on whatever you like. But that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.